We're back with NJCAA Hot Hoops. Kenya Landers and Dan Olson. We're back with another week, Kenya, in December. Getting to finals week. Closing down some schedule stuff here before break. It's an important time. You can't let off the gas, right? And
You can't let off the gas.
yeah, so we'll talk about winners and losers. We're going to talk about the poll here to begin with. And but what were there different things in November and December that you did as a coach versus January, February? Was it any? I know there's got to be similarities, but were there anything different that you would do?
Oh, yeah, so different. So, you know, November and December, you're still figuring it out, right? You're still testing players. You're still pushing some people to their limits to see how they respond. You're still climbing. You're still trying to get where you're going. Now, once you get into January, February, I mean, obviously we're still climbing because you want to peak at the right time, but that
Correct.
becomes more of the maintenance part of the season, right? Like we have established who we are defensively. We know our defensive drills. We know our warm up. We know how we start practice. Like we are past all of that stuff, and we are maintaining what we're doing, and then continuing to fine tune. There's a lot that goes into play, like when you start January, February, because you want to make sure that your teams are fresh. That they come out and they're ready to compete, but at the same time, you don't want to level out. So there's a fine line there of really working hard to get where you're trying to go, keep your teams in shape, ready to play, but at the same time, you can't fall off either. So it's just a fine line of just really trying to stay in tune with what you're doing, lock in, be able to do all your offensive drive with no defense, with no mistakes, just stuff like that. And then it just January, February things start to become second nature to the players, and that's when it really gets fun.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah. Good thoughts. Good stuff.
yeah.
Why don't we go over who's done well over the past week and who hasn't?
Woo, who's hot and who's not?
Yeah. Some of the
Yeah.
same old, but you never know. What do we got?
Yeah, so Southern Idaho, Dodge City, Three Rivers, Gulf Coast, South Plains, Chipola, Eastern Arizona, NEO, and then Florida Southwestern. All are 2-0 and 3-0. I mean, they did not have a blemish, and they played good, tough competition, like we say every week. I feel like we kind of turn into like very repetitive on some of the things that we're saying about these teams that are having success, that they're playing tough competition, they're not ducking anybody, but that's what we have going on. I mean,
Got to
we
figure
have
it out.
people got it figured out, and we have people that and coaches and teams that are moving in a direction, and they're taking some pride in what they're doing. And
Yeah.
so for me, that's really fun to watch, and fun to see people continue to grow. North Dakota State College of Science, they went 1-2. Chattanooga State 0-2. And I mean, they were at the national tournament last year. So it's not like, they're just teams that aren't coming out and competing at a high level. Again, it's because they're playing good competition, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we got Daytona State, 0-3. They had a coaching change. Coach kind of left out of nowhere. They appointed an interim for the rest of the season, and they got to go through that, right? Like that's something that you just are going to have to go through. They'll figure it out, and I have confidence that they're going to get back rolling.
Yeah. Challenging moments down there at Daytona.
Very challenging.
Yeah, but they've got, that's a nice little situation there. I mean, they're close to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a city. They've got scholarships. They got a nice place to play. It's not gigantic, but it's comfortable. It's a cozy environment.
Yeah.
And they've been successful for a long time. So they'll figure it out. They'll get it right. And, they'll right the ship there. But right now it's a little rocky. you know. Um, what about the top 10 for the poll? The poll came out yesterday. Most of it, I guess, is unchanged.
Yeah, it
So
is. Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, it's the exact same poll that we had last week, and
yeah, I think the
it's
top
just
18 teams are the same
yeah,
consecutively, so
that's
nobody's
right.
moved. Uh, but Florida Southwestern, like we've talked about them before, they had a huge win against Gulf Coast, remember a week or so ago?
Yep.
They moved up to 20. They were the only team that moved into the top 25 that had previously not been in it for this week. So
Yeah.
uh, hats off to Florida Southwestern. They're making moves down there in Fort
You knew
Myers.
they were going to come climbing. You knew they were going to come climbing.
Yeah. They won the national title again in volleyball for women 2 years in a row now.
Wow.
They're a dominant. They're the Trinity Valley of volleyball, and
Yeah,
getting it done. And
I love it.
yeah, again, once again, they went almost unscathed throughout the whole season. So yeah, but they've got the pieces together at Florida Southwestern to really do well. So why don't we talk about the Division II top five? And uh, it doesn't look like they've moved much either.
No, no, Kirkwood's still rolling 10-0. Johnson County 13-0. CCBC 10-0. Union out of New Jersey 10-0. And then Lincoln Land, they moved up one spot in the poll to number 5, and they're 11-0. So it's, you know, I'm amazed at how in the Division 1 and Division 2, we got quite a few teams that are playing tough competition that do not have any blemishes on their record. And that to me, like that says something. Like you're grinding, and you're working hard, and you're able to show up in those big games when it's time.
Yeah, I mean, they've gotten off the grid to begin with, like unscathed. They have figured out. So they're really rocking. And Kirkwood, I mean, they're a perennial national champion, as is Johnson County's won it a couple of times. So um, yeah, they keep it moving.
Good time.
This is something we haven't talked about is, right now the leading scorer in the country, the leading rebounder. The leading scorer, Lanaya Richardson from Lincoln Trail, averaging almost 25 a game. This player is a point guard, but she has a scoring punch to her. And if you slow her down, that's probably going to help because she is a motorboat, and gets up and down, tough to contain her. And she's put up some serious numbers, 230 plus games that she scored so far this year. And then Vivian Inugwa from Barton County. This is an unsigned power forward, kind of an athletic mismatcher in the front court. She leads the nation in rebounding, 15.2 a game. But she's no slouch on the offensive end either. She's averaging
That's
40
right.
and a half, so
That's right.
she's putting up double numbers. Both of those kids, by the way, are unsigned.
Which
So
blows me away. Which
yeah, I
blows
mean,
me away. But
far as I know, they're both unsigned. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I'm sure
uh,
somebody will come and snatch them right on up.
yeah, well, if they're listening to Hot Hoops, they should be. There you go.
Come get them.
Get
Come
them.
get them.
We're packed with info here, right?
Exactly.
So, hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about rewind from the week's past games or some good ones. And we'll be right back with NJCAA Hot Hoops, and we'll do that.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
We're back. Rewind, Kenya. NJCAA Hot Hoops. We had some good games this past week. And, some that we talked about, we're going to rehash. McLennan on a roll, 64-39 over a tough Blinn team. It's all about the guard play for McLennan, as we spoke about, right?
At Blinn, right?
It was at Blinn. And as you mentioned, a tough place to play at Blinn.
Oh.
They made 9 threes in that game. McLennan did. And, they had 3 kids in double figures off of that team. So
yeah, their backcourt dominated the game.
no
Like
doubt
the
about it.
backcourt completely dominated the game.
Yeah. We mentioned Eastern Florida State going through some growth pains from a year ago. They had to go to Florida Southwestern, and again, Florida Southwestern has really picked up the pace. 75-60 Florida Southwestern. And the thing with Florida Southwestern is their balance. They have like 5, 6 players in double figures almost every game, which I don't think a lot of other teams are doing that. So they're sharing the ball. They're doing a nice job of playing team basketball.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun to watch. I love watching teams when they share the ball, make the extra pass. You're coming down the court. Yeah, you got a layup, but just drop it off to your teammate right there. And that's when it gets exciting. You get the buy-in from everybody, and
There you
it just
go.
starts rolling. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Now they had 27 turnovers in that game. They still won.
Well, we're gonna have something to talk about.
Yeah. Got to take care of the ball better.
Yes.
Let's go out west. Cochise takes it on the chin against Eastern Arizona by 5. Backcourt for Cochise, they were solid. But Sarah Dang signed with Florida, 5'10" combo guard for Eastern Arizona. She plays like a spider, Kenya.
Yeah.
Like long and lanky, good defender. Still trying to find her way as a primary guard, handling the ball. But she had 22 and 9, so she presents a problem. And as she moves forward in her career, she's going to be one of these defenders, that can deflect and convert plays and stuff like that. So she's got an interesting future for herself in basketball.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. I think the difference in that game was that Cochise only made 11 free throws and Eastern Arizona went to the line more, and converted more free throw attempts. So last week we had Trina Tillis Horde on from Tyler.
We did.
We talked about her going down to the Temple Classic, and she got beat by 9, 73-64 by Temple. Tyler had 32 turnovers. You're not going to win a lot of games with 32 turnovers. Okay. So she's got to fix it.
Think about, 32 turnovers, that converts to a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's going to turn into, if you score off a half of those, that's 30 points at least,
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't play like that. Yeah.
No.
I'm sure she'll get back with her guards and they'll get back on. I know she's had some injury bugs, but 32 turnovers, she'll get them straight.
Yep. McLennan, Panola. Panola's an improved team. And McLennan put it on 77-53. And once again, and just as we talked about a minute ago with that guard play for McLennan, 53 points in the win. They may have more than that, if I put it all together and counted it all up. But they're dominating. The backcourt for Panola is an improved backcourt. Mm-hmm. They got a freshman, Hannah Carr. She's from Frisco. Solid guard play. She had 12 and 4 assists. And then they have perhaps one of the best guards out there in the country in the sophomore class, Awa Fain. Mm-hmm. Very similar to Sarah Dang from a physical standpoint. She's got to step up, and I think the consistency, she's got the game to do it. But you know how it is. When you coached at Trinity, you had some games where you're going to run people out. And then there's other games where you really got to come to play.
Yeah.
Those kids got to be focused every game. That's you know?
And that's the difference for a lot of kids, whether you go from high school to junior college, where you go from high school to D1, like you got to figure out how to do what it is that you do night in and night out. You know, whether your shots off, whether you're, you know, you still got to find a way to make an impact on the game, and you still got to find a way to be a part of the game. And I think that comes with maturity, right? I think that comes with just the growth and the confidence to know that you are capable of doing that night in and night out, because I mean, it's hard. It's not easy when somebody busts you in the mouth and you're tired and you're sore and your coaches chewed your ass and you're just trying to figure out what am I even doing. And so it's a maturity thing, and they'll get there.
I hope players listen to that and take notice, because that's good stuff that you just said. That's truth, you know? And
Hard.
sometimes they don't want to accept that, right? So
That's right.
let's go out west, further west. Casper and Southern Idaho tangled. Those are the two of the three or four best teams out west. In Southern Idaho, they're highly ranked now. They're 71-53 winners over Casper. Kennedy Gillette, who's their zone buster, got good guard size. She had 15 for Southern Idaho. And Andy Schisler, who signed with North Texas, she's a nice guard. Very similar, both of those players. She hit for 19. She had 3 threes. So Casper, I think, is one of these teams, like we've talked about, is trying to find their way still. But they're well coached, and they adapt and they figure it out as they move on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They do. They do it. I mean, they do a great job. In some of these games, like we were talking about the parity, right? I mean, some of these games they play the next night and the score could be completely flipped.
Yep.
Like these are just teams that are balanced out. Sometimes it goes good for one squad, and it's not the night for the other. But these games, I mean, the scores are not telling us what kind of games these are. Like these are still very competitive, very highly competitive, intense, really getting after it. I mean, you lose by 20, that could be, the last 2 minutes you had to give up fouls. We got people shooting 8 free throws. Right. And so these teams are still competing at a very, very high level.
Agreed. Last game to talk about, which is a good one. New Mexico beat Cisco 88-57. They ran them out.
That's a good win.
Yeah. And, we're going to have Austin Mefford, the head coach of New Mexico Junior College, on our hot seat segment of the show today.
Yeah.
But he's got a dominant team. And Panya Davis, their star forward, the #1 player in the country, she had 8 and 8 in that win. Cassia Antonio, the #2 prospect. I mean, how many times does that happen? She had 11, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds in that game against Cisco. And then Nuria Estrada had 23. That's one of his guards that's kind of like doesn't get a lot of publicity. But he's got some depth and athleticism and size. He's got a lot of good ingredients. So we'll be excited to talk to Austin and see what kind of magic he's doing down there in Hobbs.
Yes, I need to know.
Yeah. This is what a lot of people want to figure him out,
Right. He's not going to give us too much, so he can't get his secrets away.
Keep it close, yeah. Hey, when we come back, we're going to do our upload segment and talk about games for the next week ahead when we come back with NJCAA Oops. Was I supposed to go to Austin then?
Upload and then hot seat, right? So you're good.
Okay.
Pretty sure. My camera looks blurry. Hold on.
You froze for about 1 second earlier in the show.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of blurry to me, but I don't know if it looks like that to.
No, you don't look blurry at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
It could be because I don't have my glasses on.
Is that it?
I could probably put
Last
my
week with
glasses
your
on.
glasses on, you had these little circles around.
I know it's my light, which is
Yeah.
why
But there's no circles today.
I don't have them on. There's no
Yeah.
reflection.
No
Just on
reflection.
my cheeks.
Yeah. A little shiny. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're back with Upload, Kenya. NJCAA Hot Hoops for the week. These games coming up now, even though we're closing in on our semester break, we got some national tournament implications that are down the line here. I love that. That's great that
Listen.
people aren't playing softies, you know. Um, who do we got? We got Blinn playing at Collin. Now that's like a good rivalry, you know. They got to
Yeah.
go to Collin. Collin's not been on fire like they were a year ago, but they'll
Mm-mm.
figure it out. That guy's a really good coach at Collin.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got some young players that are trying to figure it out. Remember one of my favorite players, Kennedy, what's Kennedy's last name? Came from Crandall, played for her mom over there. She's figuring it out. Got a chance to watch them play once in a scrimmage, so they're gonna get there. They're just, Kennedy Holmes. There we go. So they're just trying to figure it out, and they will. He'll get them going. They'll be ready to go.
Greg Franklin, Garden City, goes and visits Hutchinson. Now that's got to be one of those games for him that's got to say to himself, this is a marquee game on my schedule. I'm playing the defending national champ. I've got to make moves here. I got to do something, you know? So it's going to be an interesting outcome there for Garden City at Hutch. I'm anxious to see
Because
that.
Garden City got nothing to lose.
There
They
you
got
go.
nothing to lose, and he's going to come out. They're going to be ready. They're going to be locked in, well coached. I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out. Do we know where that game is?
That Hutch.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
OG Frank, though, he'll be ready.
OG Frank.
Mhm. Cochise at Arizona Western. Now, I'm going to be in Yuma next week for a day and a half. There's a tournament down there. Midland's playing, Southern Idaho, Central Arizona, Arizona. They're an improved team. So that could be an interesting game for Cochise to play at Arizona Western. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'll have full report here as we move forward. And hey, then we've got the Lady Cards of Trinity Valley going over to Mississippi Gulf Coast for a little tournament.
Going to the SIP.
Yeah.
Them and Tyler both, right?
Yeah, Tyler in
What's
there
Region
too.
14 doing in Mississippi before
I don't
Christmas
know.
break?
Gotta ask, gotta ask Precious what she's up to.
Yeah,
But
her and Trina.
that's good basketball there. You
Yeah.
know, Mississippi Gulf Coast is good, solid program. Then we got Three River. We just had this. They must have an agreement of something going on there because Three Rivers and Shelton just played a couple of weeks ago, I think, and
Yep,
now they're
they
in the
did.
Shelton State Classic in Tuscaloosa. Pearl River and Walter State's in that. That's a good tournament, you
That
know.
is a good
So
tournament.
all four of those teams are national tournament teams, you know. Then northeastern Colorado, New Mexico, that's going to be another game for him at home. There in Hobbs.
Yeah.
Uh, and then he's got Salt Lake again. And I mean, he's built his schedule pretty good for right around this time of the year, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's dealing out some money and some rooms to get
Yeah.
people to come and
Yeah.
come there and play. But you got to do what you got to do,
Gotta
right?
do it. Yeah. So those are the games that are coming up this next week. Now we're going to be on break due to, the holidays until the beginning of the new year.
Yeah, we got the
So-
football NJCAA National Championship happening next week. So
Correct.
our entire crew will be there, and then everybody's going to be home. So we won't be back until 2025.
Yeah. So we'll have a lot to talk about, you know?
We'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So look, when we come back, it's Austin Mefford time. I mean, he's on the hot seat for the hot hoops. So we're going to see what he's cooking down there in Hobbs when we come back. NJCAA Hot Hoops. back with NJCAA Hot Hoops, Kenya. And as promised, we've got Austin Mefford with New Mexico Junior College with us. The undefeated Austin
The
Mefford.
undefeated, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
12-0. He won last night and rocked somebody 98-42. And he keeps it rolling. Austin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Kenya.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Excited.
Yeah, we don't know why we didn't have you on earlier, because you've been killing it, and I mean, let's ride some stats here for a second. I mean, you got the number one player in the country, who's a dominating forward, and going to Florida State, Panya Davis. You landed her, and she has been an impact performer for you. But you've been winning games, man, since you've been there. You've been doing it, So, what's the magic to the formula out there in Hobbs?
Well, we've been fortunate. We've had good players, and that helps. And I've tried not to screw it up too much. And
stay out of the way.
They've done a great job, and they're kind of on a mission this year. We've got a lot of sophomores that were here last year, made the national tournament, and they're on a little bit of a mission this year of no prisoners. We're just moving on and going and taking care of business every day. They come to work every day at practice, and this group here is special. They've got a chance and are really working at it every day.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this all plays out. Kenya, I mean, I think if you gauge the conferences that are around the country that you play in, you've got the Panhandle in Florida, has predominantly been really good. And of course, Austin, you were part of that at one point. And now you've got the Western Athletic. I mean, I don't know who's stronger. I mean, that's a tough league. Either one of them are tough, but I mean, I think you pick your poison,
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we've talked about this region, Region 5. We've talked about them on every show that we've had this year and just talked about how competitive it is and how all the teams within the region, Coach, you guys are playing tough schedules. You're not ducking anybody, as Dan likes to say. You guys are going out, you're finding competition. Like you said, you have an experienced group of sophomores that are back. So talk to us a little bit about how you guys, your strategy or your thoughts when building your schedule to continue to make sure that you challenge the kids and to keep them ready.
Well, scheduling is very different here at New Mexico compared to other places I've been, given the location. Sometimes it's hard to find teams to play that are not a long trip away. So we've been able to play a lot of home games this year. We've had to give some guarantees, give some hotel rooms to get people to travel, but we've been able to build a good schedule. We played Dodge City early. We played Snow and Garden City when they were ranked. In the next 2 weeks, we have Salt Lake and Cochise. So we've got 5 teams we're playing non-conference in the top 25, at least when we're playing them. And it's all just to get us ready because last year our region had 4 teams in the top 10 going into the national tournament. And it was one of those crazy years with the rules how they were, where only 3 teams could make it to the national tournament. And, McLennan was left out. And with the rules changing going into this year, McLennan's good again. South Plains is better than they've been the last couple of years. Odessa's solid, and it goes on and on. We've played Grayson, and they're probably a top 25 team. And there's a lot of good teams in our region where any night, you can get beat by anybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's the goal, right?
Kenyon.
Yeah.
When I was watching JUCO in the Jamboree time frame in October, I think I alluded to Kenya, like the parity throughout the country is more now than it has been. There's been upper echelon teams and then it drops. To his credit, I mean, he's at the top of the list, but there's a lot of those mid-division one JUCO teams that are out there that can really, like Grayson, he mentioned, that's really kind of made a step up, and McLennan as well. Odessa solid. I mean, but don't take for granted the Clarendons and the Midlands any one night. That they can knock you off if you're not ready. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, we were just to his point about his schedule as far as making sure the kids are ready. And like Dan and I, we talk about all the time, like this is the time of year to put them in the fire, right? Because even if, you guys have been in the fire and have had great success, and you've won some of those games that were close, that could have gone either way. And so that has to give you guys confidence once you get into league play after the new year, and you can tell your kids, we've already been here, right?
Yes, absolutely. And when we start conference, we go straight into the fire. Our first two road games of conference are at South Plains, at Odessa. So we'll find out very quickly where we're at. And that's what
Yeah.
we're all preparing for. And, we've been able to play some of these good teams when we get ready that hopefully our kids are prepared. And it's not a shock when someone's big and strong and physical and gets up in us that we've done that before and beat that team. So.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me about one of my favorite players in JUCO women's basketball, Panya Davis. I just love her, which is she's easy to love, right? But
Yeah.
not just about her, but like talk to us just about some of your players that have really, really, stepped up and have established their roles or and are carrying the load. And you have a lot of players to talk about.
Well, Vanya Davis has been incredible for us. She came last year and was an All American. Made the decision this late this summer to go to Florida State, and she's really bought into. I'm getting ready to go play in the ACC. She'll come to work every
Yeah.
day and just has that energy that carries the rest of our team. Where
Mm-hmm.
she's going to be the one going the hardest, and they'll respond and go hard with her. That she's really trying to prepare and understands that it's going to be harder at the next level and just trying to really get herself ready for it, just physically, mentally, and just doing different things on the court. She's special and can do things that we haven't had anybody that can do. And, at Seward, we had some great players. On Gulf Coast, we've had great players, and she's definitely up there on the list of ones
Mm-hmm.
we have, given she's 6'5", 6'6", and she can get a rebound, go down the court. She can score in the post. She can face up, shoot. She can step outside and shoot it a little bit. That she can really do a lot of things. But then we have others like Cassie Antonio, our point guard, is um, very skilled. She's 5'11" point guard that can get downhill. She can really go and transition and defend. And this has been the big thing this summer was you've got to be able to shoot the three. Well, I don't know what she's shooting now, but like 2 games ago, I think she was shooting 50% for threes. Hasn't taken a lot,
Wow.
but she was like 8 of 16. So enough that you had to guard her, where she's developed that, and she's got several power fours. Talking to hers, went on a couple visits, and I'll go on some more. But she's kind of been the engine that's got us going in transition and got us going up tempo. And then the third one is really we last year the piece we missed is Emma Najuma tore her ACL right before the season started. It was actually the week before the first game, so she missed last year, redshirted. She ended up signing early at the University of New Mexico, went on some Power Four visits, but felt that was the best fit for her. And she's a big, strong 6'3" post player that can do a lot of things. And she didn't get cleared to play until the week of the first game this year. So she's just getting better and better every single night. And she's going to be really fun to watch at the end of the year. But when we can have her and Panya playing together at 6'3" and 6'6", they play different and they're going to be really tough to guard together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
a
noticed,
good combo.
yeah, I noticed, I mean, versus everybody else that's out there, Kenya, like we're talking 6'3", 6'6". You're talking the three names he mentioned are among the top 10 players in the country in their class, so that's a good place to start. And Antonio, by the way, is an unsigned guard. So, and one of, if not the best point guard that's out there. She combines size and speed, can break you down. She's a nice player. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you're working magic, Austin.
Trying to.
Um, you've got 3 games coming up here now too. And you're a brilliant scheduler. You got 3 home games in a row. Northeastern Colorado, Salt Lake, and Cochise. Those are 3 good games. And before call it a day for the break, but then, like you said, South Plains, Kenya, that's a national implication kind of a game. Um, Wow. I mean that's a national tournament level game that's going to really kind of see where you stand among others, out there in your league. Um, so I'm excited to watch it. I wish I could be there, but I'm certainly going to tune in and watch it. Um, Austin, you're from the Gulf Coast State College tree of
Three.
dominance.
Yeah.
Shed some light on that. I mean, you worked for Rooney School. You were a part of national championship teams. You guys have something in common there on the JUCO scene. You both have won national titles. Um, what did you learn from your experiences there at Gulf Coast?
Well, I can't even express how much I've learned, but having Coach Scoville and Coach Hicks have been tremendous. And that's where this has all started. And we've tried to build and do things the way they did things at Gulf Coast. Obviously, I've had my own wrinkles to it, but the structure and the majority of it is similar to what they've done and learned it. And it's one, we had good players at Gulf Coast. Coach Scoville's always had good players, but the way she could communicate with players, get them to buy in, do what she wanted, instill that discipline is just never seen anything like it. And those she'd be hard on them, but at the same time, those kids loved her to death. And
Mhm.
just the way that she did everything from the running game to laps to conditioning type of stuff. We've tried to instill that into our program, and so far it's been so good. And it's just they're incredible people that would do anything for you, both of them, and just the way that they get these young people to buy in, and it's more than those 2 years they're here. It's the rest of their life. They're part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound familiar, can you?
Sounds real familiar. Sounds real familiar. I remember watching some of her teams once I left Trinity Valley and started my coaching career. I mean, I'm watching her coach and she's getting on those kids. And I'm like sitting on the sideline, let me make sure I got my stuff in line. Is my shirt tucked in? Like just the level of high expectation that she coached with and just watching her, the passion. And I mean, it's something that if you ever saw her, you would never forget her, right? Like it's just one of those people that just sticks with you and making a huge impact on the game. And I feel like, you being in that tree, like you said, you've taken a lot of that. And I mean, everything that you guys are doing and the way that your kids carry themselves and the way that they play, I mean, you are making a huge impact on the game of women's basketball.
Well, we try, and just the way she did things she instilled how she wanted to play and the running game and getting up tempo and just knew how to communicate to those kids, just knew
Mm-hmm.
how to get them to do what they wanted. And Coach Hicks was a huge part of it and
Mm-hmm.
taught so many things, just anything from teaching a jump shot. They were so good at teaching kids and just getting them to do what they wanted. And they did it the right way. And it was just incredible to watch and learn from because both of them have brilliant basketball minds, but it's way more than just
Oh yeah.
basketball. It's
Yeah.
it's more about people probably than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be a
Yeah.
psychologist.
All coaches should have minored in psychology.
No. That's it. It's the bad,
No doubt.
you know.
No doubt. So your kids are getting ready to head home for the break, right? After obviously you have some work to finish up here. But what is it that you guys do over the break? Because like we talked about earlier, I mean, you come back and I don't really see like any JV fluff game before. I mean, you come back and you get with it. So what are some things that you do with your kids or that you give them to make sure they stay on top of their game, while they're at home for that long break?
Well, we've somewhat shortened our break. We played our one JV game during finals this week is final
Mm-hmm.
exams, and we played that game during finals to try to relieve that. But yeah, after these 3 games, we'll have about 10 days off till they come back.
Yeah.
And we have several international players that will actually be here over the course of the break as they won't go
Mhm.
home. They'll be here and we'll take care of them. But just trying to get them in the gym and keep them ready. Give them a few days to rest first, and then try to stay ready and get some shots up and encourage the other kids while you're home for your 10 days to make sure you're getting in the gym and staying in shape and doing something. And then we come back and practice on the 28th. And then that gives us, I think, till the 6th, we play South Bend.
Okay. Yeah.
Got a few days to try to get our legs back under us and get going
Yeah.
again. And, but we really, those first few days will be a lot of getting up and down and trying to get our breath back, catch that second wind and get going. So we'll be ready and just refresh our minds. But at this point, we're going to have played 15 games. They need a little break, need a little rest where they can, get their legs back under them, refresh their mind. School's over, have a couple days to just get over it, enjoy family, enjoy friends, and be home, and then come back and it's all business for the next few months.
Yeah. You got to do something, because I remember going home as a player and Coach Bucky say, y'all do what you want. You're in charge of how bad it's going to hurt when you get back.
Exactly.
And we were all like, noted. We better keep doing something while we're at home. And you have kids that are so driven though, and they want to be the best, and they love the game of basketball. So, they'll keep working while they're home. So
absolutely. And they know what the end goal is, and they've decided what the end goal is for them if they want it to be. So we'll see. They'll go home and hopefully make right decisions, and I'll come back ready to go.
Yeah, I like it.
Listen, Austin, again, you really, as Kenya said, made an impact on these JUCO women's band. It's a different breed, so to speak, of doing what you're doing, being impactful, giving these kids opportunity, location of where you're at, all the things that you've figured out. I mean, you've done a masterful job so far, and we're certainly pulling for you to do well. And anxious to see in Casper, Wyoming. And I know it didn't end where you wanted it to last year, but you were close. You were a piece away. And like you said, that injury bug hit you last year a little bit. But man, you've really turned the corner there, and we got an eye on you, that's for sure. So, Kenya, anything else?
No, just thank you so much for taking time out. We know how busy, life is as a junior college coach. You don't have like 6 or 7 people around you waiting, asking you, what can I do? What can I do? You got a lot on your plate. And so we know that. And so we really appreciate your time, and we wish you guys luck on your last few games for the break, and happy holidays to the T-Birds.
No, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for having me, and look forward to the rest of the year.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
All right, Kenya, we're back with Hot Hoops, our final segment of the day for this edition of Hot Hoops.
Yeah.
Let's talk some mailbag stuff. And
yeah.
I know you've got a question. I've got one too. I'm gonna go first. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Give me the importance. Now, we've talked with Austin, with New Mexico. We've talked to other coaches every week. The importance of having a leader on your team. Go ahead.
Oh, man. We often say, or I often say, how the guards go, the team goes, right? But, to have that leader on your team, to have that extension of your head coach, that's basically has the capabilities to say the same thing that the head coaches and assistant coaches are saying, but in a way that their teammates can be receptive of it, right? And there's different kinds of leaders. There's leaders that are vocal. There's players that lead by example. There's situational leaders. I mean, we have a lot of different things that we can talk about leaders, but I will tell you, you can't show me a national championship team that didn't have an A1 leader.
Amen to that.
You cannot show me a championship team that did not have somebody on that court that continually pulled the team together when things got hard, when things got rough, and to keep everybody focusing on the same page. You know, having a leader in whatever sport, I mean, whatever team sport, it could be basketball, it could be volleyball, it can be football. The leader on the team keeps the team moving in the right direction, not just on the court, right? In the locker room,
Yep.
At the dorms, when you go to a restaurant, are we acting right? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? You know, leaders are people that they're first and foremost, they're going to do everything that they're asking everybody else to do, right? And so, you know, just it is imperative to have that leader. I mean, if you don't have a leader on your team, then it just becomes a coach that is coaching a group of people. I mean, because what a leader does is it gives the team it gives them ownership. Like, this is our team. This is what we're going to do. Yes, we need our coaches. We need them. But leaders, they bring the squad together. They bring the squad together in the dorms, having those tough conversations, paying attention to who's struggling that day and who's not, and going and picking them up. I can tell you so many times that I noticed that I had a teammate that was struggling, and I would text or call them, hey, you want to go to lunch? You want to go to dinner? You know, and that's what leaders do. They pay attention to everybody around them. They're selfless. It's not about them. It's about the team. They do the dirty work. That's a great question, because I could go on and on about leadership, and
it's a priceless thing.
It's
like
priceless.
It unfold. It's priceless.
It is. But you know what? I've never seen a coach that has taken leadership for granted. Think about all the coaches that we've had on our show, and they've talked about, man, we have these kids and they are great leaders, and they have the team going in the right direction. Like, coaches know that they need leadership, and they appreciate it too.
Yeah.
All right. So my mailbag question is, how does the NJCAA determine where the national tournaments are held? So it's been in Casper for a while. It was in Lubbock. It was in Salina, Kansas forever.
Yeah.
And then now we know that next year it moves, and for 2026, it moves to a new location in Louisiana, right? So
Correct.
how does the NJCAA determine that? Or do they?
I'm sure they do. I don't know the specifics of that, but I know that there's a bid process for it. But I think that probably the NJCAA got some feedback from those powers that be of going to Casper. There's a couple of teams in that area that didn't spend as much money to get to Casper, but there's another 20 that did. That spent a lot, you know, and going out and getting beat and one and done, that's an expensive trip. So I think the location of where they're having it now at University of Southeastern Louisiana in Hammond, it's right off of Interstate 10. You can have all of those teams through Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas that can drive, Illinois that can drive, Tennessee that can drive 10 or less hours to get to that location. Yeah. It's more economical. There's more things to do. Facility wise, it's a fairly new facility. So I think makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Now,
yeah.
Having said that, the facility at Casper, it's great. I mean, there was some probably learning curve from them to begin with because it was their first year, but overall, it was well attended, especially by the Casper faithful. I mean, they had Northwest Florida State on the ropes in the first half. It was a great game. But to have that sustainability like you'd have when you were at Tyler, Salina, some of those teams, and some of the commitment from the area fans that really buy into JUCO women's basketball. We didn't have that, you know. Now, hopefully we'll have that again in Louisiana as we move forward. And look, so far we've got, you know, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Those teams are represented well, and they've been doing well have stepped it up from a talent perspective and overall win-loss records, have done well, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm anxiously awaiting the outcome and how that all unfolds. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where we're at with that. I hope I answered
All
your
right.
question.
That was great. No, that was great. That was
Yeah.
great. All
So
right.
well, look, we're off for a few weeks now due to the Christmas holidays, the like I
Yes,
said, the
we
national
are.
title. And you know, we're gonna come back the first week in January with our next edition of NJCAA Hoops.
Yeah.
So
2025 edition.
there you go. You know,
All
it goes on. So
right.
happy holidays, Kenya.
Yes, happy holidays.
Yeah. Enjoy your time and
Thank you.
you want to sign it off for us? Go right ahead.
Yeah, just good luck to all the teams that are competing this week in the NJCAA women's basketball. Take some time for your families over the break. Turn it off for just a second before you come back in January. Well, it's real grind time. So from Kenya and Dan here at JUCO Hot Hoops, happy holidays, and we're signing off.